Hi, and you're welcome to Let's Talk. Today we're looking at the topic, why do Africans hate each other? Yes, you heard me. Why do Africans hate each other? Over the past 50 years in Africa, there's been internal conflict that has seen millions of people displaced, hundreds of thousands of people killed or injured. So what's really going on in Africa? Why do we hate ourselves? Initially, we thought it was the colonial masters, and then we looked at the Chinese. Are they to blame? And then we looked at, okay, maybe the Indians are the ones causing us to hate each other, or the Arabs are the ones causing us to hate each other. It's been one thing or the other. But the question is, why do we Africans hate ourselves? What's the reason? Before we continue, please press the subscription button, like and also comment on this topic. We'd like to hear from you. And press the notification button as well to ensure that we give you freshly squeezed news and topics on a regular basis. So back to the topic, why do Africans hate each other? Listen to this. Africa has suffered several internal wars, mostly tribal and ethnic, portraying a political agenda. We have seen genocide in many parts of Africa and threats of genocide even in this present day. The level of violence leaves one to ask, are Africans truly capable of such barbaric acts to themselves? The wars have left regions in poverty and in dire need of help. Some African countries are still healing from the effect of war. When we look at the history of Africa and the wars it's fought within itself, we can't fail to mention Burundi in 1972, the Burundi genocide, the Burundi Civil War, the Titanic Express massacre, Itaba massacre, Gatumba massacre, Burundian unrest. In Rwanda, we can't fail to mention Rwandan Revolution, Bugesera invasion, Rwandan Civil War, Rwandan genocide, which was horrible. In Kenya, the same. South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, and even in Nigeria, just to mention a few. Nigeria had its own civil war and has been having internal conflict within its borders. Well, that was quite interesting. Number one on the list why Africans hate each other happens to be religion. Yes, religion. We've seen over the past couple of years, especially 20 to 30 years in Africa, a rise in terrorist attacks. Terrorist attacks within the borders of the countries, across the borders as well. We've got a rise in the case of terrorism. And it's a very, very, very evil practice indeed, because you have sometimes communities being displaced for one reason or the other, like what's happening in Nigeria at the moment. Communities, tribes, ethnic groups being targeted, displaced from their farmland, displaced from where they are by the terrorists themselves. So one of the problems of Africans hating each other is religion. The so-called terrorists are extremists. They are trying to practice religion from an extreme point of view, to the point where they're killing people. Sometimes people of the same state, people of the same ethnic group are killing themselves because of religion, because of different views in religion. So one of the problems Africa is facing, the reason why it's hating itself, the reason why it doesn't like itself is because of religion. Religion has divided Africa. Extreme religion has divided Africa, has brought it to the point where its neighbor that used to be peaceful is now seen as an enemy and someone that you have to eliminate, all in the name of religion. Number two happens to be economic reasons. A lot of the places in Africa are blessed with natural resources. So the natural resources, they attract investors. Now what happens is that a lot of time the investors, based on some reason or the other, will raise up militant groups to get the minerals in that area, like we saw in Sierra Leone over the couple of years as Sierra Leone was going through war, and the target was diamonds. The diamonds were being mined. So you have people arm the militants, and then the militants go to communities that have this natural mineral resources, drive them out, kill them, just to mine the diamonds. So the natural resources happen to be, it's a blessing and it's also a curse in most cases for Africans, because once you see gold somewhere, once you see oil somewhere, be careful, you're going to see terrorists in that area. You're going to see people, criminals that are gun-toting criminals that are there to kidnap, to do all sort of things, to harass people, to make sure that they harness the full potential of that mineral illegally. And unfortunately, you will see the evil investors who will come in and make matters worse. So this mineral resources, in as much as it being a great blessing to Africa, has also been a great curse indeed to the people of Africa. In some cases, you have people that have oil spillage messes up the whole farmland. They have to move from one point to the other to have to look for where else to farm, and it doesn't guarantee that they are living a good life. So the natural resources, we could say to a certain point, on the negative side, has actually made Africans hate each other. It has risen a lot of people, communities against themselves, to the point where what we hear in the news is really horrible. So number 2 happens to be the natural resources. Number 3 happens to be segregation. You ask me, how is it segregation? Now, the lighter the skin in Africa, the more the better, or the better the chances of you getting a good job, a business, or being listened to. The color of the skin in Africa is a problem. We're dealing with segregation in Africa big time. What you see outside Africa is racism, but when you come to Africa, what you see is segregation. The lighter your skin, the better your chances of survival. The discrimination is so clear that even within the same country, because a part of the country is light-skinned, they tend to want to have power and control over the other part of the country that is dark-skinned. Once you're dark-skinned in Africa, immediately you're meant to be ruled and not to rule. So that is one of the problems Africa is also facing segregation, to the point where people from the same country hate each other. People from the same country are doing as much as they can to gain control and lead people by force because of segregation. This is one of the reasons why Africans hate each other. The next one is political control. Now, in some countries in Africa, a tribe will tell you, oh, this tribe has been ruling for a couple of years. Why should they keep ruling us? We need to also have our own say in governance, and we should also have our own tribesmen as leaders leading the country. So in that kind of thinking, what it does is that when they can't win elections, they start looking for other ways to gain power. You start looking at coups, you start looking at causing some kind of anarchy, you start looking at militants rising up to take control over the leadership of the country. So political position is one of the reasons why Africans hate each other. It has led to a lot of bloodshed, a lot of people being maimed, and all sorts of things happening to them, which is not to the best interest of the overall progress and development of Africa. The last one is the xenophobia. Haha, yes, we saw it a couple of years back. Horrible pictures of people being burnt alive in South Africa. That desire, that sense of evil because somebody is coming from another country and you feel it's taking your opportunity, it's taking your job, it's taking your business. Meanwhile, you're not skilled enough to do the job. You're not skilled enough to do the business. You're not bringing the investment into the business. You just feel that once you see a foreigner, someone from another country, come into your country to do business, you need to deal with the person. Why? You need to kill the person. People were being burnt alive. This is one of the problems Africa is facing. Xenophobia. It's something that we need to get rid of. It's something that we need to deal with because it's killing our people. It's causing so much hatred and so much sorrow within Africa. Xenophobia is one of the problems we're having and one of the reasons why Africans hate each other. Well, that is all, folks, for today as we talk about why Africans hate each other. We'd like to hear from you. What do you think? From your own point, what do you think is the reason why Africans hate each other? Are there some other things that we have not covered? Please let us know so that we can all learn from Let's Talk. Thank you so much for being a part of today's topic. Make sure you press the subscription button and also like and comment. We'd like to hear from you, and press the notification button as well so we can give you fresh topics as they come. Take care, and thanks once again.